So 100 patients, what, 40, 50, 35? I mean, a good number. It's not the 11% or 12% we were led to believe, 10 years ago, or before next-gen sequencing and multi-gene panel evaluations, and quite frankly, tumor probing came into play. So, there's a whole other thing that no one's touching, but it's going to make a difference too, is the loss of heterozygosity. I think Clovis's data is good data. Is it going to be proprietary, or are labs going to look at that as well? And I think they are. What's the cost associated with that? I think there's a lot of wild cards, but yes, the answer to your question is it's probably about my guess is probably somewhere between 35 and 50 patients that would get the drug out of 100.
Right, and basically those patients you are saying would probably be, so to speak, either BRCA positive or a subsegment that has benefited the most in terms of overall survival, right? So there would have to be a biomarker attached to it. Yeah.
Well, I just don't think you can throw it at everybody. It's just prohibitively, unless it's $20,000 and it's generic, then have a ball.
Right. Right. And then also kind of talking about, your current, or rather the current patients on current PARP inhibitors, right? Is there a possibility that you would be willing to switch them from current PARP inhibitors to, this product X if it's, showing that clinical benefit?
Switching, you mean once they're on the treatment to that drug?
Yeah. So basically, what I'm asking is, would you use product X only for new patients, or would there be any switching happening because you're seeing the clinical benefit from other PARP inhibitors to product X?
Boy, I think if you showed a survival advantage, it would be like cracking the code on a blinded trial. Is it even ethical not to change it? Right?
Right.
I mean, how could you possibly look at a woman, and say, I got this drug here that works the same way, but this one over here is keeping people alive longer. But I'm not giving it to you because you're already on this one. We'll wait till you fail this one, and then we'll give you the one that's going to keep you alive. No, that ain't working.
Right. Right. That makes sense. And I also, currently, how much is the duration of therapy in general for second-line platinum-sensitive patients with PARP inhibitors?
To progression or to intolerance. I don't think that there's a number. I don't know where. I got to be honest with you. I've looked at this. I've spoken to, several people that were on the original trials. I have no idea where 22 months of Avastin came from. I mean, I don't know why we all of a sudden stopped. Why? And the question always begs itself is, what if we kept going? Would there have been a subpopulation of individuals that did, in fact, have a real overall survival? Because now they're looking at retrospective data on that and finding individuals that in fact do have a survival advantage. If you look at ICON 7 or one of the GOG trial, right, in the large bulk residual disease individuals, maybe there would be a group of individuals that would have in fact a benefit from the PARP in that setting.
Right. Makes sense. Moving on to page 3. We have some data that's fairly similar to what we saw on the earlier page, but also wanted to get your thoughts on first line advanced. And I think you mentioned that eventually that's probably the segment that's where PARP inhibitors might end up playing a big part. So what are your thoughts here with regards to product X?
So I'm a little confused with the first box because it says overall response rate. I assume we already have a response rate in first-line maintenance, right? Because if you don't have a response, then by definition you're platinum resistant. And then are you giving it as treatment? Because it's really not maintenance at that point. I mean, my definition of maintenance is, quite frankly, is complete response. And then give a drug to continue to keep the tumor away.
Right. So basically, with the thought process here was, in case, you're using a chemotherapy, for example, as so to speak, the induction therapy, and then continue patients on a PARP inhibitor or Avastin. In that case, I think we had hypothesized the overall response rate, so to speak.